Hi modern fashion designers, welcome back to class. This is Modern Woman Apparel. I want to specially thank all my subscribers, and if this is your first time stopping by, you are highly welcome. Please join us by clicking on the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so as to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you. So in today's class, we'll be learning how to draft, cut and pad a shoulder dart bustier. The measurement we'll be needing for this class is the shoulder length, the shoulder to bust point length, the bust circumference, the shoulder to the underbust length, the underbust circumference, shoulder to your front waist length and your waist circumference, and shoulder to your back waist length. Remember, the back and the front waist length are not always the same. So measure what you have, and that is what you'll be working with. Having said that, let's get right into the tutorial of the day. So to start, first thing first, I have ruled my starting line. So this is my starting line, which will also serve as my shoulder line. Now from here to here is 11 inches as my bust point. From here to here, this is the under bust, 15 inches. And from here to here, this is 19 inches as my front waist length. After this, what I'll do now is to come to this shoulder line here and get my neck line. So I'm doing 4 by 5 as the neck depth and the neck width. So 4 inches as the neck width and 5 inches as the neck depth. Remember, this can be wider or deeper. It all depends on what you want. And also the neckline here, the shape here can be V-neck, can be in rectangular shape. It all depends on what you want. Give it any style line of your choice. So after this, what I'll do now is to measure to get my shoulder length. So I'm working with a shoulder length of 16 inches. I'll divide it by 2, which will give me 8 inches. From here, I'll come down by 8.8 inches. That is my chest line. How did I get it? I divided my bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 plus an additional 1. So on this point here, I will measure the same 8 inches I have here on this line. So this is my 8 inches here, and from here I'll connect to this line, this point here. So this is my armhole line here, and this right here is my chest line, CL. Now after this, what I'll do is to draw the armhole curve, and to do that I'll come to this chest line here and go up by 3 inches. And on the point of this 3 inches, I'll go in by 0.75. So it can be between 0.5 to 0.75. It depends on what you want. Now, before I connect to this part here, I'll come to this chest line here and measure my bust circumference divided by 4 plus half inch for ease, because I'm making use of a sleeve. So I'm working with a bust circumference of 38 divided by 4 will give me 9.5 plus half inch for ease. Now I'll connect. And after that, I'll connect to this point here. You will ask, what about our shoulder slope? Not to worry, the shoulder slope will come in later. After this, what we'll do now is to get our dart line. So I'm working with a bust span measurement of 8 inches. I'll divide it by 2, which will give me 4. So I'll mark 4 here. From this point here, from this waist length line to the bust point line, 4 inches. And I'll connect. After this, what I'll do is to come to this shoulder point here, this shoulder line here. From this neckline to this point here, I'll divide what I have there by 2. So I have 4 inches left, so 2 here. Now I'll connect from this point to this bust point line. After this, what I'll do now is to take my under bust tightening. So I'm working with a bust circumference of 38. I will be doing a dart intake of 2.5 inches. Now, if your client's measurement bust circumference is 38 and you notice that your client is very busty, you can do 3 inches. But for this, I'm making use of 2.5 inches. So I'll input 1 inch on this part here and 1.5 inches on this part here, making it 2.5 inches. Now, if you're working with a client of 40 to 45 inches, you make use of 3 inches, total dart of 3 inches. And if your client is below 36 inches as the bust circumference, you do 2 inches. So 1 inch here and 1 inch here. It depends on what you want. You can decide to share it equally, or you put lesser on this side and more here. It all depends on what you want. So the same 1 inch I have here, I'll put the same 1 inch here and the same 1.5 inches on this side. So 1 inch plus 1.5 will give me 2.5 inches. So I'll connect like this. After this, I'll come in with my curve ruler and connect to the bust point. Please take note of how I'm placing my ruler. So after this under bust tightening, we'll now go over to the shoulder dart. Now what I'll do is to come to this line here, go in here by 1 inch on this part and 1 inch on this part, and from there I'll connect to this bust point. So after this, what we'll do is to take all the horizontal measurements and also replace the darts that we have taken. Now I'll come to this shoulder line here. I took a dart of 2 inches. So from here, I'll replace the 2 inches here. And I'll come to this point here. Remember this mark we made here. I'll measure what I have there. I have 1 inch. I'll come here, starting from here. I'll do my 1 inch. Now I'll come to this chest line here and measure what I have here. This is about ½ inch. Remember, I've already done the bust circumference. My bust circumference is 38 divided by 4 is 9.5 plus ½ inch for ease. So, and I have ½ inch here, so I will replace the ½ inch here. Now from there, I will draw a new armhole. We are no longer making use of this former armhole. We are no longer making use of this. So what we'll do now is to come to this part here, the underbust. I'm working with an underbust of 30 inches divided by 4 will give me 7.5 plus the 2.5 inches dart. So I will replace it here. I'll come to the waist length here. I have 32 inches at the waist circumference divided by 4 will give me 8 inches here, and I will place the 2.5 inches dart intake here. After that, I'll connect. Now having done this, remember the front and the back lengths are not the same. So what I'll do is to impute the bust dart. So the difference between my front and my back length is 1 inch. Yours can be 1.5, 2, some can even be 3 inches. So whatever you have as the difference, my front waist length is 19, my back is 18. So the difference between 19 and 18 is 1 inch. So I'll come down from this bust point line here by 1 inch. So whatever you have as the difference, you come down from the bust point by it, and from there I'll connect back to this point here. So guys, this is it. Next is for us to draw the shoulder slope, but before we do that, we'll first of all close this dart that we have here before we can draw the shoulder slant. Now to close a dart, first of all, what we'll do is to open another dart. So I'll be slashing through this waist dart. If you want, you can slash through the bust dart. Anyone is okay, but I'll be slashing through this waist dart to enable me close the shoulder dart here. After slashing this part here, I will also slash the shoulder dart. Remember, this part here is going on. So what I'll do here is to join it together. Make sure the bust point line is matching up. Then I'll close it like this. After closing it, I'll tape it down. Having taped it down, what I'll do now is to draw the shoulder slope. So I'll come to this point here and come down by 1.5 inches for the front shoulder slope. This is 1.5 inches here. From here, I'll connect to this neckline. So as you can see, after closing the bust dart, these two lines are no longer matching. That is the essence of closing the bust dart before drawing this line, so that both of them can match. I hope you understand. So after drawing this shoulder slope now, what we are going to do is to remove the tape. So you can make use of a paper tape instead of this transparent one that is stronger. So this is what we have. Next is for us to cut this out. Remember, this is also part of the dart that is going out. We'll cut out this dart here and eliminate this bust dart here to enable the front and the back length to meet up by the sides. I hope you understand. So I'll just cut this out. Remember, no seam allowance have been added to this. We'll add all the necessary seam allowances on the fabric. Now to close this bust dart, what we are going to do is to slash through the line here. Then carry what you have here and place it on this line like this. After that, you tape it down. So this is it. If you find out that after closing this bust dart that this line is no longer matching up, what you do is to blend it up like this. Now we'll cut out the remaining part here. And this is the shoulder slope line here. Now what I want you to note that you can also make this neckline wider. So if you notice that this neckline is too small for you, to make it wider, what you do is to match up this bust point line here and close this dart here. Close it up, then tape it down and redraw your neckline. After that, you open the dart. So guys, this is all for the front part. Now we'll go over to the back part. So for the back, as you already know, this is the starting line here, which will serve as the shoulder line too. Now this is the chest line. Remember this chest line we have here. So I extended the line up to this point. Now this is the waist length. The waist length for the front is 19, while for the back is 18 inches. So that is why we have this bust dart here. Now this is my starting line. So I'll be taking all my measurements from this line here. So having said this, what I'll do now is to take the neck depth and the neck width. So for the front, we made use of the neck width of 4 inches. I also do 4 inches, but for the back, I'm doing 3 inches. Now remember, this is all not constant. You can bring the back as deep as this place. It all depends on what you want. So you can do the neck depth and neck width of your choice. Can be round, can be V, and it can be in rectangular shape. It all depends on what you want. So feel free to do what you want. I'm just using this neckline here for the purpose of this tutorial. I hope you understand. Now after this, I'll take the shoulder measurements, which is 16 divided by 2, that is 8. I'll also come to this chest line here and do the same 8 inches here. Now before I connect from this point to this point, I'll come down by 1 inch for the back shoulder slope. Remember we did 1.5 for the front, so 1 inch for the back. After that, I'll connect from here to this point. So for the front, before we drew the armhole curve, we came up from this chest line here by 3 inches. But for the back, we're going to divide what we have from this shoulder slope here to this chest line by 2. So make a mark here on the middle. Then from there, I'll go in by 0.5. Now remember, you can also take your curve from this point here. So it's between this curve to 0.25 and to 0.5. So don't do more than 0.5, please. You can also take it from this point. It's totally okay. Now I'll connect from here to the shoulder slope. And before I connect the armhole curve here, I will do my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 9.5. Plus ½ inch for is this ½ inch is because I'm adding a sleeve to this. Please, if you're not adding a sleeve to yours, there's no need for this additional ½ inch. Now connect. Now after connecting this, what I'll do now is the waist dart. So I'm working with a bust of a bust span measurement of 8 inches. So 8 inches divided by 2 will give me 4, and I'll connect from this waistline up to this chest line here. After that, I'll take 0.75 on this part and 0.75 on this part, and I'll connect back to the chest line. After that, I'll take my waist measurement, but before I do that, I'll come in here from the starting line here by 0.75 here, and I will connect up to this point here. So this is it. Now I'll be taking my waist circumference measurement from this new line here, no longer from this line, please. So this is for the back tightening, to eliminate all the zipper bug and every other thing. So the waist I'm working with is 32 divided by 4 is 8, plus this 1.5 inches for the dart here. This is it. I'll connect back to the chest line. So guys, after getting this, if you want to have the same shoulder dart that we did for the front, if you want the back to have shoulder dart, what you did to measure what we have here, remember I did this is the neckline part. I did 4 inches at the depth, and what I have here is about 1 inch. So 4 inches plus 1 inch will give me 5 inches. So what I'll do is to come here and measure 5. Then from here I'll connect it to this part. But for me, I'm not doing a shoulder dart for this back part, so there's no need to connect. But if you are doing a shoulder dart, all you do is just to connect like this, and that is all. There's nothing to take here and here, please. So after this, now what I'll do is to put in my zipper allowance. So you can put it on your fabric or you just add it here. So let's say I'm making use of a zipper allowance of 1.25. So this is it. From this line here, I'll go out by 1.25. Here too, I'll go out by 1.25. And from there, I'll connect. So this now becomes my zipper allowance. I hope you understand. So before I cut this out, I'll just add all the necessary seam allowance here. So this is it. This is the zipper allowance, and this is ½ inch here for joining. And whatever you add here depends on the allowance you normally work with. Now for this part, you'll be joining it to a peplum to make a blouse or a skirt to make a gown. So remember to add your joining allowance on this part. And for here, if you're making use of a shoulder dart, note that you will slash through this line here. You remove these 2 dart lines we have here, slash through this line. And while transferring to fabric, you will add the ½ inch seam allowance on this part here to join these 2 together. I hope you understand. So I'll cut this out now. So this is it for the back, and this is it for the front. And because we have eliminated this and bust that here, you can see that these 2 are matching up. Remember, this is the seam allowance for the front. We have for the back, we have not added any seam allowance to the front. So we are measuring from this mark here. This is the original mark here. So you can see that both of them are matching up. So guys, we are going to stop here for this part 1. As you can see, the video is already lengthy, so be stopping here for this part 1. And in the part 2 of this video, we'll be transferring this to fabric. I will show you how to add all the necessary seam allowances to this pattern, and how to cut your wording, how to part and sew this front parts. So thank you so much for watching. You can find the link to the part 2 of this video on the comment section, or you locate it on the description box. I'll see you in my next video. And if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe to this channel, like and share our videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next class. Bye for now.